before I get to that story, let me go back and talk about two things that I forgot to mention. One is that Dr. Julia Hoffman was trying to cure Barnabas of his vampirism back before the 1790 storyline, but that didn't work out too well, and he turned into like a 100-year-old man. And then he attacked Carolyn, bitter, so it would return him to his younger vampire-looking form. But whenever she was giving him like these blood transfusions, there was nothing attached to him. It was like you see all these little gadgets and gadgets and little things all buzzing, but it wasn't attached to Barnabas. And also Nathan Forbes from the 1790 storyline, he started off really nice. He was trying to help Vicky Winters, trying to escape from being a witch, but in the end he became crooked and greedy. So yeah, that's why Barnabas had to take him out. But he eventually has to come back and redo what he did. I'll try to remember to get to that later. So let's get to the storyline that I like. So Vicky returns, and Barnabas thinks that that she might have found out that he's a vampire. And for some reason they're both driving, Barnabas is in the passenger seat and Vicky is driving. And then Vicky, he sees what she thinks is Peter Bradford from the 1790 storyline, and she crashes, which proves that women can't drive. I'm just kidding, women, you can drive. I'm not kidding, by the way. So then they're taken to a hospital, and Dr. Lang is looking over Barnabas, and when Dr. Lang realizes that Barnabas is in fact a vampire. So within the next episode or two, Dr. Lang cures him. What he did in 2 episodes what Dr. Hoffman could not do for like 40 or 50 episodes. Barnabas can walk out during the daytime. He can, have the sun on his skin. He feels, he's human again. He loves it. And so in exchange for that, he has to help Dr. Lang with his little weird project. Dr. Lane is working on making life out of death by creating a Frankenstein monster. He's putting all these pieces of people together, and he's trying to get like a life force, I guess the spirit from someone to put into his monster. And then he brings it to life in naming it Adam after the first man from the Bible. And Adam is, in the beginning, from Adam's story, Adam was kind of one of my favorite characters. I liked him. He was very interesting. And then when he became more aware of things going on, when Adam could talk more, that's kind of when I lost interest. I liked it more when he was just like a dim-witted, like Frankenstein monster. So that's the way I liked him. And then Willie Loomis kind of became more of a what was Frankenstein? Igor. He became like Igor. Actually, it's pronounced Igor. And so like Barnabas tried to, help, Adam, try to teach him or whatever. And I don't know, I liked it. And, it started off okay, but then when, Adam could talk more and that's kind of when I lost interest. Forgot to turn my light back on. And, let's see, then we get to Adam wanting a mate, and then Nicholas Blair. So Nicholas Blair comes in, and he's a warlock, but I forgot to say that Roger has remarried a woman named Cassandra, which is actually just Angelique wearing a cheap brown wig. No one knows it's her. Barnabas knows it's her, but she's like, no, I'm not Angelique, and then he knows it is, but when she takes the wig off, screw you, I am Angelique. I don't know. It was just kind of her whole wig thing, and Roger being obsessed with her was kind of, like, Vicky bought a picture of Angelique, and he becomes obsessed with it, and that's why he married her. I don't know, something like that. And, let's see, and then Nicholas Blair shows up, and Nicholas Blair's a warlock, and he wants to kind of harness the evil, or trying to create more monsters like Adam, so he's really nice to Adam and tries to help him, and then Adam becomes kind of obsessed with Carolyn. He kind of develops a little schoolboy crush on her and wants to, I don't know, do stuff with her. And then he ends up in this little shack. He takes her hostage, and She tries to get away, but then he gets her back, and like they escape and gets her back. Then he kidnaps Vicky and forces Adam. Oops. He forces Barnabas to make a mate for Adam. So he wants her. I'm screwing up just like the actors on the show always messed up the lines, and they kept going. I'm not going to stop. I'm just going to keep going. It's live. This is live action. So they have to make a mate for Adam, and she's named Eve. So Eve is a redhead, a hot, sexy, feisty redhead. You're still not calling me. What's the deal? And then, let's see, we have the Dream Curse, which was pretty interesting. It was very grotesque, I guess, for its time, and it's so cheesy that it's awesome. I'll say that. So Angelique, or Cassandra, puts a dream curse on the Collins family, in which will, like, it gets scarier every time someone has the dream. Like, Willie has a dream, and he opens the door, and there's like some kind of skull, like a skull just looking at him or something. And then Mrs. Johnson opens the door, and there's like a guillotine. They show that each one different time. It's like the 12 Days of Christmas. Like each one you see the guillotine and the head, and then like a werewolf's head monster growling, and then there's like a skeleton dressed in a wig and a bride's dress, or cross-dressing skeleton was awesome. I love cross-dressing skeleton. So in the end, Barnabas is supposed to be the one that has the final dream, and which is supposed to kill him in the end, but it doesn't. Barnabas lives because Barnabas is cool. And then we have Cassandra, for some reason, makes Elizabeth Collins Stoddard think she's going to be buried alive. That was so nerve-wracking and so dull, and so I just wanted, like every episode, Elizabeth is like, "Oh, I'm gonna be buried alive. I'm gonna make a new mausoleum. I don't want to be buried alive." And I just kind of shut up. I just wanted to slap her. Just shut up. Alright, and then now we go on to the Jenningses. Chris Jennings, Tom Jennings, and Amy Jennings. First we have Chris Jennings, who is Tom Jennings, sorry. We have Tom Jennings, who is Chris Jennings' his twin brother. So Tom Jennings is a vampire. Like, I think Cassandra, pretty sure, you got Angelique becomes a vampire in this storyline. Okay, and then Tom becomes a vampire. He made a terrible vampire. I'm sorry. The actor playing both roles, he was better as the werewolf man as a vampire. He just like when he showed his face, he was he was just so, I don't know, melodramatic, and just it was silly. So Barnabas kills him. Then we have Chris Jennings, who is a werewolf. Chris Jennings has a little sister who was in the Wyncliffe Asylum named Amy. Amy is played by the little girl that played Violet in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, who turns into a big blueberry. Blueberry. And in the beginning, it seemed like Amy Jennings always had like this little scared, little worried face on her face. Just like Victoria Winters always did. Victoria always had this mousy, little worried face. I don't know. So Barnabas tries to help Chris Jennings with his werewolf problem. Like he would take Chris Jennings into the Collins mausoleum where Barnabas's coffin is, and he would hide him there from the moon so he wouldn't become a werewolf. He did become a werewolf, but he was just stuck in that room. He tore everything to pieces, and the actors always became smaller. He was a tall actor, but then when he became the Wolfman, he was very small. Then you have David and Amy playing the game. They found this little room where you find it. There's an antique telephone, and they would call the ghost of Quentin Collins from the 1890s, which would eventually lead to the 1890 storyline. And let's see. Okay. So Barnabas would use these I Ching wands, like these little black wands, I guess, but two of them had white specks on them. They call them, it's the 47th pentagram, or some kind of pentagram, and you throw them on the table, and you rearrange them a certain way, and you concentrate, and you would eventually, like, your soul or your spirit would go through this door, which would take you back in time, but leaving your body in present time. I don't know. It's Dark Shadows. You figure it out. So that would lead him to 1897, which is where we find Quentin Collins and Magda and Sandor and all these other different Collinses and the gypsies and I don't know, just different things. I'm really tired of reviewing this show. I want it to be over with. I'm tired of talking about it. Okay, so in the beginning, when Barnabas gets back to 1890s, he's stuck in his coffin. So he summons Sandor, which is played by Thayer David, who played Matthew Morgan and Professor Stokes and Sandor and Count Petofi, and he plays a bazillion characters on the show, just like the actor who played in The Wizard of Oz played different characters. Sandor looked like a gypsy Mario, from what I remember. He looked like Captain Lou, whatever that does on the Super Mario Brothers Super Show. And Magda, who was played by, Dr. Hoffman, she looks like a gypsy tranny, almost. She has, like, dark hair, and she talks like this, like Misha from my videos. And actually, I think she looked hotter as Magda as she did than Dr. Hoffman. Yeah, I'm weird like that. This 1890 storyline lasted 200 episodes. Why? Okay, so you had Quentin, who wants to take over the household, and Grandmama Edith knows the family secret, which something bothers me really badly later. I'll get to that. So Grandmama Edith knows the family secret of Barnabas and how he's a vampire, and then she sees Barnabas and she has a heart attack and dies. And so all the greedy Collinses want in on her will. They all want her money. And see, Quentin's wife, Quentin's wife, Jenny, crazy Jenny. Who also played Eve. Eve and Jenny were the same woman, or played the same woman. Yeah, Jenny was insane because she had lost her babies, and she had these little dolls, like these little baby dolls, who she called her babies, and she would talk to them and be all overprotective of these little dolls, and I don't know, this whole show was weird. Everything about the show was weird. I can't stress that enough. And then you have Count Petofi, who was played by, Matthew Morgan, Professor Stokes, and he had this hand. There's some kind of power in his hand that if you touch it, or some kind of power that they try to control it. And see, Quentin wanted the power, and then Magda turns Quentin into the werewolf because Quentin killed Magda's sister, Jenny. Yeah, Jenny and Magda are sisters, even though they're not. Jenny didn't look like a gypsy, or didn't have an accent. I don't know.